Are you a homeowner with a question and no one to ask? Are you thinking about buying or selling and you don't know what the first step should be? Well, our KC Live home and real estate expert Elizabeth Sady is here to answer your questions. Let's get right to it. First up, a question from Kimberly. She asked us, what is the best advice for first-time landlords? Is there a particular book we should read or class we can attend? Elizabeth?
So yeah, I would say that from the beginning, determine what your goals are. So are you a new landlord because you didn't want to sell and you wanted to hold on to it for a couple years? Or are you trying to build wealth and build an investment portfolio? So sit down and really look at what your goals are so that you can set up processes that will help make you successful with that piece of property or your complete portfolio of properties. I would say another thing that I think some landlords do really well is they use their maintenance activities as a good time to check in on the property. So changing out that you should change your furnace filter once a month is what inspectors and in-home care providers would say. So use that time to go in and make sure that there isn't a pet that's not supposed to be there tearing up the carpet and that things are being maintained properly. So whether you do it every month or every other month, use those times to your advantage. I would also say that from the very beginning, make sure you set up good structure with your tenants. So if rent is due on the 1st and late on the 5th, you need to make it very clear from day one that there is not going to be any sliding on that. And I think sometimes it's hard to go, well, okay, you had a rough month, but then you're 6 months down the road and you're getting really emotionally involved and it's a business transaction. So be really good from the beginning on setting up those things.
Great advice. All right, let's move on to Heather. She asked, what are your thoughts of completing a pre-inspection before even listing your home for sale?
So this is a question that I talk about with sellers quite a bit, and it's a case by case, so it's a seller by seller kind of situation. Now, if you've got a homeowner that's really in tune with their property and knows all the ins and outs and maybe hasn't owned it very long, so they had an inspection previously, they may opt not to. Because when you do a pre-inspection, there's a cost involved. Some people do not like to spend the extra money before they list their property. It can be up to $400 or more for that pre-inspection. And what you discover in your pre-inspection, you do have to disclose the material defects to buyers. That makes people a little nervous sometimes. It can be a little overwhelming to buyers to walk in and have a 30-page inspection report sitting there. But there are benefits. So people that do pre-inspection, maybe they don't know what's going on and they just feel more comfortable knowing anything big that might come up in an inspection before they negotiate down their list price and agree on something with a buyer. So they go into listing their home going, you know what, we've got good foundation, we've got good plumbing, I don't have any roof issues, we're not gonna have any big ticket items for sure. We can negotiate down to this number. So it can be helpful in that sense. Sometimes buyers also, not always, but sometimes they won't do their own inspection and they'll just go off of the one that you did as a pre-inspection. So that can be a benefit. An
informed seller, no doubt. Okay, Robert wanted to know, we painted our kids' rooms a bright, fun color. Should we repaint those to a neutral tone prior to listing our house for sale? Thoughts?
This is always a hard one, so I would say that you should try if it's not something that's too difficult, especially those neon pink rooms or neon green rooms that anyone's really probably going to come in and go, okay, we need to repaint this.
Yeah.
You want to make your home as neutral as possible. So whether it's a kid's room or your entryway or a dining room that you have painted blood red, you do probably want to do your best to think about repainting those, especially if it's something that's going to take many layers of paint, many layers of primer, and it's going to be a lot of work to cover up because to a buyer, that can be expensive, that can take time, and it can be a distraction. There's many times that when I'm shopping with buyers, we'll go, so which house was that? Oh yes, that was the pink, bedroom house. That was the pink, purple, and green bedroom house. Well, that's not how you want to be referred to and be what you're remembered for when you're on the market. Another thing I have with sellers where it's sometimes emotional for their kids to get their rooms painted, I say, allow me to put up a note that says before you move out, you will primer and paint the wall a neutral color for buyers. So that kind of calms, the concern there for a buyer.
Because kids do get worked up about that, don't they? They're like, my old room.
Yeah, it's emotional, and it's already a very emotional thing to be moving, and sometimes when you're 9, maybe it will be one less thing to upset them during the process.
I like that. Okay, you have one more question that folks have been asking you.
Yes. So I've been getting a lot like, can you help a friend or family member? Are you too busy now with the show and what's going on? So by all means, I am available and happy to help. I can't hardly keep a house listed because they're selling quickly on me. So I'm happy to help. So feel free to email or call.
We love that you hang out with us for an hour on Monday mornings, but you're very busy, staying very busy, selling lots of houses and helping folks find their perfect house as well. All right, well, if you have a question for Elizabeth, you can go to kclive.tv later on this afternoon, and she'll help you find some beautiful homes in the KC area, no doubt. We appreciate you stopping by. Thanks.